could you buy?
Podium over this way. There.
What could you buy for $20 billion? You could buy 167 million years of Spotify, full price. You could send 2 million pounds of supplies to space, or you could build the FCC, or the Future Circular Collider, which is a proposed new project by CERN. Now, CERN is the European Organization for Nuclear Research, and their current project is the LHC. And you might be wondering, what does this have to do with, what does this bring into the future of science? And well, to understand that, you might have to understand particle physics a little bit. So you all know the atom, right, and how it has neutrons, protons, and electrons. But inside of each proton, and neutrons and electrons, you have things called quarks and gluons, which are even smaller pieces. So you have your quarks, which are like this. This is a proton. Protons have 3. And they're connected by these swirly little bits called gluons. Now, particle physics is all about crashing these things together at tera electron volts, which is 10 to the power of 12 electron volts, and seeing what comes out of them. So you crash 2 things together like this. They run into each other. They smash into a million pieces, and tons of tiny little particles come out. So the current debate is whether or not the FCC is actually going to be worth it, because you have to consider $20 billion. Is that really worth it? So I currently do research with Dr. Jennifer Clay here on campus in heavy ion physics. That is a subset of particle physics, and me and her have talked a lot about the FCC and what it could mean. So the pros of this are that it's a much larger size than the LHC, which is the Large Hadron Collider. It is proposed to be 100 kilometers across. The LHC is only 27 kilometers across, so it's approximately 4 times larger than the current proposed one. It's, as I said, it goes into the tera electron volt. It can be up to 100 tera electron volts, which is 7 times larger than our current experiment. It's the difference between 99.999% of c and 99.9999% of c, c it being the speed of light, which may not seem like a big deal, but in nuclear physics, that's a huge deal. This can predict against the standard model, which would be this model here, the standard model for particle physics, and it can test things far, far more precisely. But then you have to consider, like I said, is $20 billion really worth it? For $20 billion, like I said, you could send 2 million pounds of supplies to people living on the International Space Station. Its biggest attacker currently is Sabine Hossenfelder, who in a New York Times opinion article stated the uncertain future of particle physics. The theories against it don't really show that anything can be found. There's people say you can do this or people say you can do that, but there's no actual answers in this field that say that this would be of any benefit. You could go into quantum gravity, you could go into other fields, but instead they want $20 billion for a single machine. So in the end, both of these sides seem to have valid points. You could advance the future of particle physics, you could advance the quantum field, or instead you could maybe do something better with the money. And that's that.
Okay, Brittany,